My coming here to join this conference, we have been allocated an opportunity to see a drought-stricken area in Chapai, northwest of Bangladesh, and we came with a lot of experiences, very useful experiences. Where we went, the main problem with the climate there is the shortening of the rain season. And the main problems or the main impacts on the livelihoods of the people have been, one, the shortage of water. As a consequence of this shortage of water is food insecurity. One of the main striking solutions which we saw is the use of drip irrigation. Another method which we were exposed to is the use of crops like chickpea, which do not actually need water. We also were exposed and we saw the use of PV, photovoltaic technology, to pump water, supply water to people for drinking, for irrigation, and for other purposes. Technology will be key to adaptation in most of these areas where climate impacts are having very severe impacts. Because we saw that without actually, the natural adaptation is there traditionally, but it's not sufficient. So definitely there will need to be an infusion of technology. And probably, I think, or let's just suggest that technology transfer should be key in all international organizations with regard to climate change adaptation. Thank you.
Avant, ils passaient tout leur temps à se déplacer en fonction des conditions de la rivière. Quand il y a beaucoup d'eau, ils se déplacent, ils partent à un autre endroit, ainsi de suite. Mais avec une initiative d'adaptation qui consiste à faire une élévation avec du sable et à s'y installer. Maintenant, ils pensent à faire de l'élevage. Ils pensent à planter quelques arbres autour de leur maison. Ils pensent à faire des foyers améliorés qui sont fixes, alors qu'avant les foyers améliorés étaient mobiles. Donc ils pensent à beaucoup d'autres choses qui sont de la vie, quoi. Ce qui n'était pas possible auparavant du fait qu'ils étaient tout le temps en mouvement. Ils vivent quelques mois puis ils bougent en fonction des conditions de la rivière.
We're visiting an area that has been, in the last decade, converted from largely paddy or rice area into shrimp farming, and you can hardly see any vegetation around here. It's all gone brown because with the high salt levels in the water, no vegetation can survive. So although shrimp farming can be lucrative for some people, it usually requires investments and only the rich people can benefit. And the poor farmers aren't able to do shrimp farming because it requires large-scale investments. So what Caritas have been doing, the NGO that we are working with here, who are showing us around, have been working with some of the small farmers to give them some salt-tolerant varieties of rice, which have been developed by the Bangladesh Rice Research Institute. There's a new variety called BR47, which has just been developed, which is highly tolerant of salt. And they've grown that and they're getting a good result from it. So what they're trying to do is to make the brown area back to green as it used to be in the past. It's a tough fight, but it is possible, and these people are trying to do that.
We are in the site number 5, is Gopalganj, and at the beginning of the today's field visit, we started to Mitroranga village, and we met there different communities. Those are exposed to different hazards which are related to climate change, and primarily flood, salinity intrusion, and different temperature variation, rainfall variation. And we talked to the communities who are really facing these problems and also adapting to these climate related hazards. And we also visited some of the adaptation activities those are initiated in those areas. Primarily we visited some of the floating gardens, and we talked to them how they prepare it and how these are being helpful for them and how they are adapting to these hazards.
And I think that one of the most interesting things of this particular area in Bangladesh is how changing and challenging the geography of the site is. So people has continuously to adapt. We have seen communities when people were fish folks and now they are into agriculture. Other communities where the process has been precisely the opposite. They were agriculturalists and now they are fishermen. And I think the one lesson that I'm learning here is that the basis for a community to be that adaptive is to be very well organized, very united and very well organized. That's the bottom line, I guess. The other thing is that it's very different when the background of the community is that they have been living together as a community previously. That's very different background compared to the situation when you have people from different origins now living together.
I think the other issue that a number of us were talking about was to what extent was what we were seeing adaptation to climate change rather than sound development. On the other hand, the work of the CBO in servicing its community and helping the community make decisions about different farming options, that is an aspect of adaptation, helping people make decisions about their future based on knowledge that they have, but also that they can access from outside through linkages with suppliers. I think those things, that for me does count as adaptation.